Okay everybody, Rob here again. Just a quick little video. Had some questions about my cresting rig that came about as a result of the video I did just yesterday on modifying the arrows. So I thought easier way would just be to do a little quick show and tell. Long story short of it is you can spend a lot of money on cresting rigs, and being a do-it-yourself kind of person, I decided why not build my own. So we have here my cresting rig. Now, in long and short, all of the white here is all built out of like 3/8 inch plywood I had left laying around. Obviously, you need some kind of a drive system. So as you can see, it's still a work in progress. But having at one time been a hobbyist flying radio control airplanes and so forth, I realized I had a nice heavy duty 12-volt motor laying around. Now, motor is mounted in, and I just reversed the starter cone and put an insert, which is a wood peg that's got a blade on it to fit inside the knock, and a little bit of surgical tubing over the outside to help keep it secured. I made two partitions with V-shaped knocks in them, lined with just felt like you'd get out of a hardware store to put on the bottom of a jewelry box, etc., for the arrow to ride in. And then I made this little flip down gate, which does two things for me. I have like an idler wheel that sits on top of the arrow here, and then I can also tag my little card that has my color scheme on it. So oh, and we mustn't forget that if you're going to have a 12-volt motor, you have to have a power source. Now I happen to have this one laying around, and the neat thing about this one is right there we have multiple settings for different voltage outputs that we can have, and that directly correlates to the speed at which the motor runs. So in brief, the way this works is, let me get zoomed out here a little bit better. Take the arrow, sticking it in my little fitting here, rotate it in and get it clicked onto that driver, that blade that's inside of there, and that gives me a drive. I then flip my idler wheel down, and based on whatever voltage I'm set at, I then hit my on switch right here, and I get speeds. So as I change this voltage here, I can directly affect the speeds at which I can run with, to include shutting it off. I found that I don't like to run it too fast. You start running it too fast and your paint is just going to go on and then fling off into Never Never Land. So I generally run it at much lower speeds to prevent that from happening. As you saw yesterday, I spun it up even faster so I could come down here and be polishing points, etc. And the arrow rides right in these little grooves. It's kind of held down in place by this little idler wheel here. And you can see one of my guides here for my particular cresting. I used to do my cresting a little bit bigger and wider, and there is my pattern there. Typically I crest my arrows before I fletch them, so you know, if I was fletching them first, then obviously I'd need to worry about collision here. But anyhow, John Ryan, hope that answers your questions and gives you a little bit better view of what we did here. Pretty simple and straightforward. The biggest trick is getting a drive motor and getting it all in a nice straight line so it runs relatively smooth. Take care, guys.